Hello, listeners, and welcome to this week's recording of Boomerang. Team 3 is here. My name is Jim, and your other readers are
Therine,
Nan,
and Ray. Andrew is our engineer tonight, and he'll be doing the recording. Ray will be doing the copying and the distribution. The news this week is taken, with permission of course, from the West Lothian Courier, dated Thursday the 19th of February, and we are recording this on the 19th of February. If we have time, we may well take some anecdotes from the Reader's Digest, again with their permission. As usual, this week has been divided into 4 sections, and can I remind you that when you have listened to the whole recording, please post your wallet back to us from the post box and not from the post office. So, we will start the first section with some general news.
historian praised for his services to the armed forces. A historian from West Lothian has been hailed for supporting the armed forces community. Gregor Poynton, MP, has met with Ian Ingalls, founder of the Military Museum of Scotland, to present a formal letter of thanks from the Secretary of State for Defence in recognition of his decades of service preserving Scotland's military history. The letter was issued following a successful nomination by Gregor under the Defence Secretary's Local Hero Scheme and recognises Mr Ingalls' lifelong commitment to ensuring the service and sacrifice of armed forces personnel are remembered, understood and valued by future generations. Ian served for 24 years across the regular army and the Army Reserves before going on to establish the Military Museum of Scotland. Following his military career, he has dedicated years to building the museum into one of the country's most respected military heritage collections. Through education programmes, community engagement and support for veterans, the museum has played a vital role in connecting communities with Scotland's military past. Central to that success has been a committed team of volunteers, many of whom are veterans themselves, who give their time, expertise and energy to preserving and presenting the museum's extensive collection. Their work ensures that the stories of service and sacrifice are not lost and continue to inspire future generations. The meeting also provided an opportunity to discuss the future of the Military Museum of Scotland, which is required to find a new home following the planned closure of its current site. Mr Ingalls updated Gregor on progress and future plans to secure a sustainable location for the museum so its collections can remain accessible to the public. During the visit, Gregor formally presented the letter from the Right Honourary John Healy MP, Secretary of State for Defence, which recognises Mr Ingalls' extraordinary contribution and highlights the importance of community-led support for serving personnel, veterans and their families across the United Kingdom. Commenting, Gregor said it was a real privilege to present Ian with this letter from the Defence Secretary. While this recognition is rightly directed at Ian, he is the first to say that the Military Museum of Scotland is built on the commitment, time and passion of an outstanding team of volunteers. Together, they have created a museum that does an extraordinary job of preserving Scotland's military history and supporting the armed forces community. As the museum looks to its next chapter, I will continue to do what I can to support Ian and his volunteers to secure a future home so this important work can continue. Ian Ingalls, founder of the Military Museum of Scotland, added, "I was deeply honoured to receive this letter, but this recognition belongs just as much to the volunteers who give their time, expertise and energy to the museum. Without them, none of this would be possible. The Military Museum of Scotland has always been about teamwork and community, and I am incredibly proud of what our volunteers have achieved together. Despite the challenges ahead, we remain determined to protect the museum and ensure the stories of those who served continue to be shared with future generations."
Police dog helps find illegal cigarette stash. A police dog has helped bust more than 10,000 illicit cigarettes during raids in West Lothian. A total of 10,340 illicit cigs and 43 pouches of hand-rolling tobacco were discovered during joint raids in Armadale and Whitburn. The premises were targeted after a tip-off from the public. The local authority trading standards team, alongside officers from Police Scotland, tracked down the illegal goods during several searches, reports Edinburgh Live. But it was a tobacco detection spaniel who stole the show, sniffing out the harmful products. West Lothian Council said they got a little help from their four-legged friend, who helped the team while carrying out their warrants. An adorable photo posted on social media shows the heroic police dog, whose name is unfortunately not known, sitting proudly in the back of a police van among 4 bags of illicit cigarettes that were seized during the raids. A spokesperson for West Lothian Council said, "Our trading standards team have been getting a little help from a 4-legged friend. The Council's trading standards team have been involved in joint raids with officers from Police Scotland and tobacco detection dogs, with illicit tobacco being seized from premises in Armadale and Whitburn, following information from the local community. A total of 10,340 cigarettes and 43 pouches of hand-rolling tobacco were removed from sale. The premises have also been reported to HMRC. The council spokesperson explained how illicit tobacco can contain a higher amount of harmful or unknown substances, as well as poor, unregulated factory conditions where they are produced. Setting out more of the dangers, they went on. Illicit cigarettes may also have an increased fire risk, as they are unlikely to have not been manufactured using fire-retardant paper, which means such cigarettes will not only go out quickly if left unattended, potentially causing dangerous fire. Underage sales of tobacco may be more likely due to the lower sale price being appealing to children and lack of age verification by the sellers. The income generated from the sale of illicit tobacco has also been linked to funding serious and organised crime. Local legitimate businesses are impacted due to unfair competition. If you have any concerns about illicit tobacco being sold in your local area, you can report this anonymously online to Trading Standards.
Social care worker sanctioned after row. A West Lothian social care worker has been given a warning from the regulator following a blazing row with a colleague. Christine Boyle was given the warning from the Scottish Social Services Council, SSSC, which will remain on her registration for 12 months following the argument. The incident took place in December 2024, while Boyle was employed as a health and wellbeing assistant at a facility in Bathgate. During the course of the argument, Boyle told her colleague, known as ZZ, "Shut up, I'm sick of you," and "I can't put effing up with you. I've had enough," or words to that effect. The SSSC report states, "Shouting and swearing at a colleague while also pointing your finger in their face is conduct which amounts to threatening behaviour. Your actions were perceived as threatening and caused emotional harm to ZZ. This behaviour falls below the standards expected of a social service worker. The behaviour is serious because you acted aggressively towards your colleague. However, this only happened once and lasted a short time. Also, no supportive people were there when this happened. Your actions did not cause physical harm, but they did upset ZZ and made them feel threatened. You, Boyle, said you had raised concerns with management about working with the colleague before and felt they were ignored. Taking this into account, the SSSC believes your behaviour shows poor judgment but does not raise concerns about your underlying values. It appeared to be a reaction to strong emotions and frustration at that moment as opposed to premeditated behaviour towards a colleague." The SSSC report adds Boyle had 15 years of previous good conduct, with no prior findings of impairment, and that she cooperated with the SSSC investigation. Resignation shock as post office closed. A West Lothian post office branch has closed after the resignation of its postmaster. Uphall's West Main Street service ceased operating from 6 p.m. on Wednesday, February the 18th. It is understood the post office is searching for a new postmaster to take on the post, with applications being welcomed. It is not yet known how long the West Lothian village will be left waiting for the restoration of the service. The post office area change manager wrote to residents and local representatives to inform them of the decision. "We said, we are writing to inform you that, regrettably, following the resignation of the postmaster, the provision of a post office service to our customers in the local community is important to us, and we will continue to work hard to restore services in the area as soon as possible. We would welcome any applications from potential retail partners interested in running a branch locally on our behalf. We apologise for the inconvenience the closure may cause. We hope that our customers will continue to use post office services, and details of possible alternative post office branches in the area." A statement released by West Lothian Council earlier this week said, "Uphall Post Office on West Main Street is set to close from 6 p.m. on Wednesday, February 18th, following the resignation of the postmaster at the branch. The post office is welcoming applications from interested parties to ensure a post office service can be continued in the area." Livingston MP Gregor Poynton and Jenny Young, Scottish Labour's candidate for Bathgate, visited the site this week to speak with residents and highlight the importance of maintaining post office services at the heart of the community. Mr. Poynton said, "From speaking to people locally, it is clear that how important the post office is to the community. It provides essential services that many people depend on, and those services must remain accessible locally. I have written to Post Office Limited to urge them to do everything possible to restore services in Uphall as quickly as possible, including working urgently to identify a new operator. I will continue working with the community and local representatives to ensure Uphall retains the post office services it deserves." Mrs. Young added, "This news is deeply concerning for Uphall residents. post offices are a lifeline for many people, particularly older residents, those without easy access to transport, and small businesses who rely on local services. I will also be writing to the post office as a matter of urgency to make clear that Uphall needs a post office and that everything possible must be done to keep services in the community. I will be working closely with Gregor and local residents to press for a solution that ensures Uphall continues to have access to the vital services a post office provides.
MP hails the impact of Amazon site on community. Christine Sullivan MP recently visited one of Amazon's largest European delivery stations in Bathgate to see firsthand the scale of the operation and the positive role it plays in supporting jobs, skills and career developments in West Lothian. During the visit, Ms. Sullivan met with the team to learn more about the training, upskilling and flexible working opportunities available on site. She spoke to employees who joined the company during the COVID pandemic and have since gone on to build successful careers, supported by the range of development and progression opportunities on offer. The Bathgate site is a major hub within Amazon's UK network and playing a key role in the local economy. With £50 million of further investment in 2025, Amazon continues to contribute significantly to employment, skills, development and economic growth in the area. Commenting on the visit, Christine said it was great to visit Amazon in Bathgate and see firsthand the scale of their operations and the positive work they're doing to support upskilling and career development. I was particularly encouraged to meet a wide range of staff who have built successful careers at this site. I welcome Amazon's commitment to continued investment in skills, training, good quality employment opportunities and economic growth across West Lothian. Amazon site manager Craig DeLue added, "We were delighted to welcome Christine Sullivan to our Bathgate delivery station and to introduce her to our dedicated team. We are proud to provide a wide range of training, apprenticeship and career progression opportunities alongside a £50 million investment in our Bathgate site as part of our broader commitment to invest £40 billion across the UK. We look forward to continuing to create good jobs, expand training opportunities and deliver long-term investment in West Lothian."
Chalet blow as reporter rejects plan. Long-running plans to build holiday chalets on the fringe of the Pentland Hills have been rejected by the Scottish Government. An appeal against West Lothian Council's rejection of the proposals for the holiday park development was dismissed by the Division of Planning and Environmental Appeals. A Holyrood-appointed reporter said that the 20 holiday lodges would increase traffic on the narrow country roads around Kirknewton. Lucy Crombie from Edinburgh appealed to the DPEA after councillors on the Development Management Committee rejected the proposal for a second time in June last year. The applicant wanted to build the Paddocks, a holiday village of 20 wooden chalets off Leyden Road just under a mile south of Kirknewton. The area of open countryside borders Leyden Road, a narrow, winding rural road bounded by open farmland and woodlands, which climbs from Kirknewton up to the main A70 Lang Hwang Road, which skirts the Pentland Hills Regional Park. Neighbours, including the owner of Ormiston Castle, a Scots baronial mansion, had objected to the development. The holiday lodges were planned for a site on the eastern fringe of the castle's 15-acre estate. Lawyers for the owner of Ormiston Castle had urged the DMC to refuse to consider the plans in June because refusal would lead to an appeal and potential success. However, the reporter, Mr. B. Bowker, dismissed the appeal. In his written submission, he said, "In conclusion, although localised in its effect, the proposal would nonetheless harm the character and appearance of the surrounding area." Mr. Bowker added, "Whilst Kirknewton contains some shops, facilities, a core path network and a railway station, the connecting section of road has no pavement, is unlit and involves a tight bend and the need to cross a railway track. In addition, although bus stops are near the railway station in Kirknewton, I am not aware of any bus stops or services near or serving the site. It is likely that the majority of journeys to and from the site would be by private vehicle. In addition, noting the nature of the proposed development, future visitors would likely arrive by private vehicle and depend on its further use to access nearby services and facilities. This likelihood is reinforced by the absence of any identified tourist attractions that are reachable by non-private vehicle. The planning application was first rejected in January of 2024 and an appeal later dismissed by the local review body who backed planners' assertion that it constituted development in an open countryside. One objector called for the council to refuse to decide on the second filing of the proposals in June last year, saying they had not changed since the council had already rejected the same plans. And the lawyer representing the owners of Ormiston Castle suggested the proposal may have come back to wear down resistance. Planning officers said the applicant had now supplied supplementary reports which validated councillors hearing the plans again.
Funding for shop staff to trial cameras. Shop staff in West Lothian will be the first in the region to trial body cameras provided by police in the fight against shoplifting across the wider area, it has been revealed. Police Scotland confirmed it had secured funding for the project, which will be rolled out across the Lothians after a successful campaign against retail crime at Streighton Retail Park over Christmas. Reporting to Mid-Lothian Police and Fire Rescue Board, officers said that a task force funded by the Scottish Government grants had recovered over £3,600 worth of shoplifted items while patrolling the retail park during December, with 30 people charged, 12 of whom were repeat offenders. And they confirmed plans to provide small shops across the Lothians with body video cameras are progressing, with funding already in place. A police spokesperson told the meeting, "Funding has been agreed and it is going through the procurement process. The first place to use them is likely to be West Lothian, but they will be used across J Division where incidents have been reported." In September last year, police said they were looking into offering the video cameras to small shops where they could not afford to install CCTV systems. The move came after it was revealed shoplifting thefts had gone up by more than 90% in Mid-Lothian, and it was revealed officers had been allocated £50,000 from national funding from the Scottish Government to tackle retail crime in the county. At the meeting of the Police, Fire and Rescue Board, Officers revealed that the initial funding had been used to increase patrols in areas hit by the crime wave. Additional funds allowed the force to set up a task force to be based at Streighton Retail Park over the Christmas period, leading to the recovery of goods and arrests. Police told the meeting that some people identified faced being handed antisocial behaviour orders, which would include banning offenders who do not live in the county from crossing into it in the future. They said the body cams for shops would be provided by police and moved from area to area in a way similar to mobile CCTV cameras are used to tackle offences in places worst affected.
Plans being finalised ahead of election. Plans for the forthcoming Scottish Parliament elections are being finalised ahead of the poll on May the 7th. Population changes have prompted controversial boundary changes, splitting West Lothian into 3 constituencies. Linlithgow, the ancient county town of what was once Linlithgow Shire, will be part of a new East Falkirk constituency. A report to the Council's executive detailing arrangements for new polling stations, Caroline Burton, election officer, told the meeting, Linlithgow ward is split between the Bathgate and the Falkirk East and Linlithgow constituencies. The town of Linlithgow is in the Falkirk East and Linlithgow constituency, and this is being administered by Kenneth Laurie, returning officer for the other Falkirk constituencies. Work is ongoing with colleagues in Falkirk Council election team on the arrangements for delivering the poll. West Lothian now sits within the Central Scotland and Lothians West region. The regional returning officer is Des Murray, the returning officer for North Lanarkshire, and there has already been engagement with his team. The newly created Bathgate constituency takes in the West Lothian Council ward of Broxburn, Uphall and Winchborough, Armadale and Blackridge, Bathgate and Whitburn and Blackburn, as well as rural parts of the Linlithgow ward. The rest of the county is part of the established Amman Valley constituency. Councillors backed proposals for polling places with Linlithgow primary servicing as a polling station for both the Bathgate and Linlithgow constituencies and Whitburn Partnership Centre, replacing the 2 previous polling stations in the town. Mrs. Burton pointed out that polling cards would indicate the new venues within plenty of time for the election, as well as giving details on how to access postal or proxy voting. Scots will go to the polls and will elect 129 members to the Scottish Parliament. It will be the 7th general election since the devolved Parliament was established in 1999. And that takes us to the end of part 1, and we'll be back with part 2 very shortly. Welcome back to part 2, and we'll start part 2 with the family intimations. And of course, these days the family intimations are always usually deaths. John Joseph Canning, originally from Rathmullen, County Donegal. He passed away peacefully, surrounded by family on the 8th of February 2026 at Livingston Care Home, residing in Livingston for the past 55 years. Aged 83 years. Devoted husband to Nan, dearly loved father to Jim and John, treasured grandfather and a dear brother, uncle and a friend to many. Agnes Stark Stevenson Carson, 210-1942 to 31-2026. Passed peacefully at St John's Hospital, surrounded by her family. Much loved mum to Gordon and mother-in-law to Tracy, and beloved granny to Joseph.
Thomas Aitken Kerr, known as Tommy, 210-1947 to 8-2-2026. Thomas Aitken Kerr, Tommy, of Livingston and previously of Bell's Quarry and Polbeth, passed away peacefully at Tippet Hill House Hospital on the 8th of February 2026, age 78 years. Dear brother of Maisie. And that's the end of the intimations. We'll go back to news items.
Jobs boost hope as site is sold. An Edinburgh business is to set up a distribution centre in Broxburn, potentially bringing 15 new jobs to the area. Fruit and veg merchant Charles Stamper will pay West Lothian Council almost £400,000 for a site just over an acre in size in Broxburn. A report to West Lothian Council's executives said the offer for the land at Eastmains Industrial Estate represents the best terms reasonably obtainable by the council. David Baird, the council's property service manager, told the meeting the site was not required by the council for service delivery, so was put on the market for sale. No offers or expressions of interest were received from the community, and there were no requests for community asset transfer. The best commercial offer, £380,000, received was from Edinburgh-based Charles Stamper, Fruit and Veg Holdings Limited, in short, CSFVHL. They specialise in the distribution of fresh fruit and vegetables across the Central Belt and throughout Scotland. The family-owned company has been in operation for 35 years and intends building a warehouse on the site to create a new base for its operations. CSFVHL have existing partnerships with local firms and have indicated that they would intend using local contractors during the construction phase. They aim to prioritise local employment by recruiting at least 60% of staff from the surrounding area and expect to create 10 to 15 new full-time positions over a 5-week period. A spokesperson for the council said the sale represents best value for the council as the highest potential capital receipt. All money raised from the sale of surplus property is reinvested back into the council to support essential services.
School closures are part of savings review. Closure of the Burnhouse School in Whitburn and a review of the delivery of primary and nursery education have been proposed as part of budget savings. But while officers say the broader education service, including music tuition, is protected, unions slated proposals as cuts. Union officials said they had been given no sight of plans until meeting papers were published, and Teachers' Union leader Heather Hughes said, "We cannot have any more cuts." West Lothian Council's Education PDSP met to consider proposals drawn up by officers ahead of this year's budget in 2 weeks' time. The proposals include integrating services into mainstream schools, including closing the Burnhouse School and the integration of language and literacy support across all schools. These measures could see 14 jobs at risk. A review of nursery and primary provision has indicated that up to 9 jobs could be at risk. Other proposals include children from out with West Lothian having to use council facilities rather than private nursery places should they request places in the county. Budget papers reiterated the no redundancy strategy with the suggestion that jobs could be resited within the education service. The report details Burnhouse proposals. For the majority of this profile learner provisions will be delivered in collaboration with mainstream catchment schools, whilst providing an appropriate education package for young people in their local community. It would signal a fresh start for the provision of social, emotion and behavioural needs learners, improving the outcomes by re-provisioning the current delivery through Burnhouse School. The proposals provides positive impacts, including more opportunities for our most complex SEBN learners to be educated on an individualised basis, with clear outcomes for reintegration into community projects. Officers at the meeting explained that they were confident that the reviews could deliver services that met the needs of children. Music tuition is protected by joint funding from the Council and the Scottish Government. Deputy Group Leader for the Opposition SNP, Pauline Stafford, questioned the assertion of impact reports regarding flexible nursery placing. It predicts no impact working, but women are primary caregivers, and that access to flexible childcare will have a huge impact on their access to the workforce. The same applies to socio-economic disadvantage if you are working shifts, also has massive impacts. For the EIS Teaching Union, Heather Hughes told the meeting, "I would just say that education has been cut year on year to the tune of 10 million in the last 5 years. We cannot have any more cuts. These proposals are cuts. They are not for educational benefit, and they're just to save money. Therefore, we cannot support anything that is not for a specific educational benefit." Tom Carr-Pollock of the GMB, representing the Joints Trades Unions, said, "Trades unions in West Lothian are disappointed at some of these proposals. The first staff saw them was when they went live in the PDSP papers. We are disappointed with that."
Welcome jobs boost for over 50s with vacancies available. This week's employment statistics highlight a particular success for West Lothian Job Centre work coaches. Those aged 50 and over have seen a 4% decrease in unemployment, with Darren Gray, External Relationship Leader for West Lothian, stating there were vacancies across almost every sector, including apprenticeship opportunities for CSCS-based roles, and particularly the construction industry, events, as well as security. Mr. Gray said, "With spring just around the corner, we're ready to support even more job seekers and local employers. We're working closely with the new Pound Stretcher store in Livingston for their imminent opening. We've managed to fill 15 vacancies for their new site in the centre, all of whom are receiving universal credit, and this shows how close collaboration really does help all of us in improving the lives and prospects of people in West Lothian. We've also set up sector-based work academies with Verg Recruitment, who specialise in security-based roles, and Keracare, who we have worked with previously. Recent job fairs at Howden Park were a real success, with more events planned soon, including our Youth Guarantee event that will be held at the EICC in Edinburgh on March the 9th. West Lothian customers will have a great opportunity to meet with up to 50 employers and providers at the event who will have live vacancies, training and volunteering opportunities across a wide range of sectors. We're also boosting youth employment opportunities for our customers by having one of our trusted partners for youth employment attend the job centre each week so that young people can get tailored advice, build confidence and connect directly with employers. Our work coaches can help people get job ready with training, work experience and specialist support, including through our disability employment advisors. Pay rises for health chiefs scrapped. Controversial 10% increases for bosses at 2 under-fire health boards has been suspended. Executives at NHS Lothian and NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde were handed temporary rises worth up to £20,000 per year for leading a planned shake-up of Scottish health service. But the move was criticised by unions who pointed out that frontline NHS staff are regularly taking on more responsibility without extra pay. Now Health Secretary Neil Gray has suspended the executives' pay hikes and ordered a full evaluation of their temporary roles. The Scottish Government wants the country's 14 health boards to work closer together in the coming years to tackle long-standing problems like waiting times and treatment delays. Ministers have said boards' geographical boundaries and accountabilities will remain, but they have been split into West and East sub-national planning and delivery consultations. The chief executives and chairpersons of NHS Lothian and NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde are in charge of setting it up, but the 10% temporary pay increases they were given for doing this has now been put on hold. The Health Secretary added, "We have worked hard to ensure an equitable approach to pay across the NHS. I have asked health boards to suspend the additional pay supplement pending the full evaluation of these roles. It is important that these additional responsibilities are thoroughly and independently evaluated with full engagement with unions." The latest NHS Lothian accounts show its chief executive, Professor Caroline Hiskus, earns an annual salary of between £195,000 and £200,000. Professor John Conahan, the board's chairman, earns between £50,000 and £55,000. Unison's head of health, Mark McLaughlin, said, "Whilst we are pleased that government has binned these bonuses for bosses, it is an embarrassing climb down for Neil Gray, and he still has a number of questions to answer, such as who made the decision and why wasn't he consulted? The announcement doesn't wash away the significant damage to our trust and confidence in this exercise. The Health Department's handling of our national planning has been a disaster. Neil Gray has two options. He either needs to relaunch this work with an entirely new leadership structure or pause it until after the May election and let a new government start afresh."
Sail to see new dawn for nursery. A Livingston Village nursery is under new management. First Class Nursery is celebrating the start of an exciting new chapter following a change of ownership that will see the much-loved local nursery continue to grow while remaining firmly rooted in the community. The nursery, which has supported families in Livingston Village for almost 2 decades, has been acquired by Sadia Ahmad, an experienced early years operator who currently owns and oversees 5 other nursery settings across Scotland. The setting has been owned by Annette Irving with support from her daughter Nicola Jane since 2006, following a full renovation of the setting which was leased via West Lothian Council. It was brought to market to allow Annette to explore retirement. Following a confidential sales process managed by Callum Lancaster at Christie & Company, the nursery has been acquired by Sadia, an established operator with an expanding group of settings across Scotland, including nurseries in Grangemouth, Dundee, Falkirk and Milton of Campsie. Craig Irving, Annette's son, who helped with the sale of First Class Nursery Limited, said, "After almost 20 years of family involvement in First Class Nursery, completing the sale marks an important milestone for us. As with any transaction, the process had its challenges, but we're pleased to have reached a positive outcome. It's important to our family that the nursery continues to serve children and families in the community, and we wish the new owners well as they take things forward. We hope the nursery continues to build on the care and commitment that staff and families have valued over the years." Sadia Ahmed said, "First Class Nursery holds a special place within the Livingston community, and I'm absolutely delighted to be continuing its journey. My focus is on celebrating what already works well, supporting the dedicated staff team, and building strong, positive relationships with families and the wider community. The next chapter is about stability, care, and helping the nursery continue to thrive. We're committed to being an active part of the local community and to supporting positive, sustainable development at the nursery over the long term. As part of the transition, the nursery will be supported by Leanne Barlow, an experienced early years professional with a strong background in quality improvement and staff development. Her role will focus on mentoring and supporting the team as the nursery builds on its strong foundations. Callum Lancaster, Senior Business Agent, Childcare and Education at Christie & Company, added, "I'm absolutely delighted for Annette, who, with valuable support from her son Craig in handling the sale, can now look forward to retirement after many years of building and developing First Class Nursery into the established setting it is today." Following a confidential sales process, the nursery has been sold to Sadia Ahmed, an experienced operator with a strong and growing portfolio across Scotland. The addition of First Class Nursery is an excellent strategic fit for the group, and I'm confident that under Sadia's ownership, the nursery will continue to thrive and build on the legacy established by the outgoing owners. First Class Nursery Limited was sold for an undisclosed price.
Families battle to deal with son's birth defect. A West Lothian family have shared their journey filled with unknowns after finding out their son had a birth defect. Alex and Virpy Crossley's third child, Luca, was born with a bilateral cleft lip and palate. He underwent major surgery as a youngster and has faced other scares and health concerns linked to his condition, which left his parents with constant worries. However, they are thankful for the support of a leading charity. The couple from Livingston were told at Virpy's 20-week scan at St John's Hospital that their baby may have a cleft lip, but would need further tests to know for definite. Verpy, 44, said, "Looking back, it was quite traumatising, as we were sent straight from St John's to the Royal Infirmary. They found he had a bilateral cleft lip, but would not be able to tell if he had any issues with his palate until he was born. We had to prepare ourselves for anything." When Luca was born on July 4th, 2013, it was confirmed he also had no hard or soft palate, and the bone in his nose was visible. Verpy, who works in health and social care, added, "It was the worst it could have been." He endured complications as a baby, including struggling to swallow and frequently choking, before having his first major operation at only 7 months old, and another when he was just over a year old. His dad, Alex, a parcel delivery driver, admitted it was difficult seeing him going in for surgery. He recalled an emergency situation that unfolded during a routine check. The 46-year-old said, "We had a scary moment when he was getting moulds done at a few months old, and a bit of the putty went down his throat. It was chaos in the hospital. They pressed the emergency button, and all these staff came rushing in. We thought he was going to die then." Luca did not need any more operations until a bone graft when he was 9, but still has problems with closing his lips and breathing. Now 12, he is undergoing dental treatment and is expected to need a further procedure when he is older to fix a protruding gum. One of the other major concerns his parents have had throughout his life, with people not being respectful in understanding his condition. Verpy explained, "Some people are just cruel when they ask questions and make comments. It's okay when children especially ask questions because you can explain it's nothing serious and will get fixed. But we've had a lot of cruel comments from older and elderly people." At primary school, he was very quiet and awkward in social situations because he knew he was different and was bullied. In high school, he's come out of his shell and made some friends, and it's getting better. The bullying isn't as bad, but every so often he's called names, like monkey or vampire. He used to get upset, but now he's quite tough and tells people off. It's always something we have to be aware of and check in with him if he gets too quiet. There's still a constant worry there, but he's happy, and that's the main thing. Thankfully, Luca and his family were supported through his bullying ordeal by Cleft Lip and Palate Action, CLAPA, a charity which has been by their side since the beginning of their journey. It provides specialised non-medical support to help improve cleft care. They receive a call the day after the scan which revealed Luca had a cleft and were reassured about what was going to happen. The charity provided specialised feeding equipment and guidance when he was born, as well as emotional support and tools to deal with the bullying. Alex is now set to run the Edinburgh Marathon this May as a way of saying thank you to CLAPA for everything they have done for Luca and the family. He said, "Their support before and after Luca was born was helpful, especially for Verpy, who found it all upsetting and stressful and emotionally draining. We faced some difficult times with Luca after he was born. He had some unexpected hospital stays, as well as all planned operations, then constant changes to his care as he grew older. CLAPA offered us tools to cope with those times and deal with the situations we never faced before, from a simple phone call to feeding equipment and advice to deal with any changes we faced with him. Verpey added, "People don't realise how much cleft affects somebody's life, with the operations and long recovery times. But we've had so much support behind the scenes, and I can't thank Clapper enough for just being there." Claire Cunliffe, Clapper's chief executive, said, "We're delighted to hear Alex will be running in this year's Edinburgh Marathon for Clapper and wish him the very best of luck on the day. As the UK's support charity for people affected by cleft, we've been more than happy to be there for Alex and his family with both practical and emotional help as they embark on their cleft journey with Luca, and to welcome them to our community with open arms. Clapper receives no NHS or government funding and relies on donations and fundraising, such as Alex's marathon, to continue its vital work. Thank you, Alex, and good luck. You can donate to Alex's fundraising page by logging into www.gofundme.com/f/Alex Run for Cleft.
Drivers warned over closures on M8 section. A series of overnight closures of the M8 westbound carriageway between junctions 3A and 4 is planned as part of the ongoing project to refurbish the bridge carrying the B792 road over the motorway between Bathgate and Blackburn. The first overnight closure took place on Wednesday night. Further overnight closures are anticipated from March the 14th to the 22nd, also between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. each night. During these closures, a diversion route suitable for trunk road traffic will be signposted from the M8 Junction 3A to M8 Junction 4 via the A779, the A7066 and the A801, adding an estimated 1.1 miles and 5 minutes to affected journeys. David Bishop, Bear Scotland's South East Unit Bridges Manager, said, "This bridge over the M8 is being refurbished to ensure it can continue to provide safe and reliable service for decades to come. Works are now required below the bridge. Therefore, overnight carriageway closures are necessary for the safety of workers and road users. We thank road users in advance for their patience and understanding while our teams carry out these essential works." New fleet is making a difference. A move to introduce a new vehicle fleet in the council is starting to pay dividends. The council operates more than 1,000 vehicles and pieces of equipment, from gritters down to the glutton machines which clean the streets. Ongoing changes to services and an eventual reduction in the number of vans and lorries will save the council over £400,000 in the next year. And taking some services in-house will add another £130,000 of savings, councillors heard. Unions congratulated the Fleet Service team for their work at a special budget meeting to discuss proposals around the budget and fleet modernisation. Councillors will decide the budget in 2 weeks' time in the face of a growing budget gap recently revealed to have reached £15 million. Scott Blythe, the council's Fleet Services manager, revealed a new renewal programme in late 2024. The plan will eventually bring down the vehicle fleet from more than 1,000 to around 850. David Moll, head of operational services, told councillors on the Environment and Sustainability PDSP that a 5-year rolling fleet programme reflected reduced demand and reliance on costly short-term hire of vehicles. We are fortunately able to deliver significant efficiency, said Mr. Moll. The council will save about £130,000 by installing its own vehicle washing facilities at the Whitehill Depot in Bathgate. At the moment, gritters and HGVs have to be cleaned off-site by a contractor. A deep clean is needed every 6 weeks to allow the council's mechanics to service the vehicles. Mr. Moll said the new facility would be fully operational this year, generating savings next year. The services team prioritise maintenance of the fleet of gritters, mini tractors and specially adapted vans which are used to keep the hundreds of miles of roads and footpaths clear. Mr. Blythe told the local Democracy Reporting Service, "Winter brings significant pressure for many teams within operational services, and we are no different in fleet services. Our job in the winter is to ensure our colleagues in roads keep moving so they can carry out their winter maintenance duties and keep roads and pathways safe. This has a domino effect that helps our waste colleagues collect bins and allow building services to visit and carry out essential repairs at this time of year. The team also work 7 days a week and are also on call to carry out roadside repairs." Mr. Blythe added, "What a lot of people don't appreciate is that there are occasions where members of the fleet team can find themselves out battling the weather conditions, trying to get access to a broken down gritter in a remote area of West Lothian in order to carry out repairs. Such occasions require quick thinking and resilience, and they provide a first-class emergency service as highly trained technicians." Speaking at the PDSP, Pat Telford, representing the joint trade unions, paid tribute to the Whitehall team. He told councillors the joint trade unions would like to congratulate Fleet Services for the tremendous work they have done, the new fleet they have brought in, and the service operators have been receiving from the fleet garage. It is noticeable in the standard of vehicles, etc. So we would like to congratulate Scott and his team on the work they have done in the last year. And that's the end of part 2. Welcome back to part 3, which will be our usual quiz, the layout of which is now 6 pub quiz questions. Now remember to listen in at the start of part 4 for the answers to the quiz. You ready? Pens at her. Here we go. In rugby union, a game lasts for a minimum of how many minutes? A, 90, B, 70, or C, 80? Question 2. In which decade was Labour politician Diane Abbott born? 1950s, 1960s, or the 1940s? Question 3. Who composed the score for the 1966 film The Good, the Bad and the Ugly? Was it Lalo Schifrin, Ennio Morricone, or Elmer Bernstein? Question 4. Who directed the 1990s film Cape Fear and Casino? Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, and Quentin Tarantino. Question 5. What type of young animal is a fawn? Is it a hare, a goat, or a deer? And question number 6. Which British writer created the character Hetty Ferrer? Jacqueline Wilson, Philip Pullman, or David Walliams? And that's the 6 questions, I hope, and we'll give you the answers in part 4. Okay, welcome back to part 4. And here are the answers to the quiz. In rugby union, a game lasts for a minimum of how many minutes? 90, 70 or 80, and the answer is 80. Question 2. In which decade was Labour politician Diane Abbott born? 1950s, 1960s or 1940s? And the answer is 1950s. Question 3. Who composed the score for the 1966 film The Good, the Bad and the Ugly? Lalo Schifrin, Ennio Morricone or Elmer Bernstein? And the answer is Ennio Morricone. Question 4. Who directed the 1990s film Cape Fear and Casino? Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, and it's Martin Scorsese. I should get the pronunciation right. Question 5. Which type of young animal is a fawn? Is it a hare, a goat, or a deer? And it's a deer. And question 6. Which British writer created the character Hetty Feather? Jacqueline Wilson, Philip Pullman, or David Walliams? And it was Jacqueline Wilson. Now we'll finish part 4 with some more general news items.
Budget proposals may see locals hit with bin charges. West Lothian householders are going to have to pay for replacement bins if they are stolen if budget proposals are agreed. Charging households up to £30 a bin is set to be introduced in April if councillors agree budget proposals put forward by officers. It could save the council approximately £50,000 a year. Scott Anderson, the council's recycling and waste manager, told councillors the current costs absorbed by the council were exorbitant. Until now, replacement bins have been given free of charge to households, with the cost covered by funding by the Scottish Government agency Zero Waste Scotland. Head of Operational Services David Moll told the meeting that until now the council only made an initial charge to house builders for supplying bins to new homes. Charging households for bins had been on hold because of extra central funding to introduce twin stream collections to boost recycling. That funding has now come to an end, Mr. Moll told the meeting. The proposal coming before councillors at the end of the month is to charge households £27 for a replacement 140-litre bin and £30 for the larger 240-litre bin. The only exception would be where a bin is lost in a refuse vehicle at collection point, which would be difficult to prove. Even households which report their bin stolen will still have to pay the charge to have a new bin. At a special meeting of the Environmental and Sustainability PDSP, Conservative councillor Alison Adamson expressed surprise at the proposal and asked for the figures. They were contained in papers released to a meeting of Corporate Policy and Resources. The papers also show proposals to increase the cost of the brown bin garden waste permit from £52.75 to £55.75. Other related waste management charges include the cost of bulky uplift for 5 items remaining at the current charge of £38.59. Responding to another question on bin charges from SNP councillor Veronica Smith, Mr. Anderson said, We are going to follow the model that most Scottish local authorities are going with at the moment, so there will be a charge for all bins. The current cost to the service is exorbitant, and the amount of bins we replace on an annual basis is about 10% of the landscape, so we have to rein the costs in. All bins will be charged for apart from the red top bins, which are used for medical waste.
Company welcomes Lawrence. Capital Service Solutions Group, the West Lothian-based specialist cleaning company, has strengthened its senior leadership team with the appointment of its first head of HSEQ and Facilities Management. Lawrence Curran joins the award-winning firm from a similar position at veterinary services company Linnaeus. A former facilities manager at South Lanarkshire Council, he brings a wealth of experience to the new role as CSSG prepares for its next phase of growth with a focus on the pharmaceutical and hotel sectors. Managing Director Moreland McDermott believes the arrival of Mr. Curran will be a valuable asset to the family-run company as it looks to strengthen its full FM capability and increase the range within its existing model from its Livingston headquarters. We previously used external resources for health and safety and quality assurance, he said. We decided to fulfil these internally, so rather than have a generic response to clients' needs, we could make the process quicker, bespoke, and purpose-fit not only for where we are just now, but where we want to be in the future. Lawrence brings a wealth of experience in health and safety with a strong track record of supporting teams to maintain high standards across a range of environments. He is vastly experienced, and I'm very pleased to have him on board as part of our senior leadership team as we look to open up new avenues for the business. We have a 3-year growth plan in place, and Lawrence will play a key role in delivering on that, along with his colleagues. His arrival expands our facilities management capability and oversight, giving us greater scope and depth across our existing soft services and integrated FM offering. He will play a key role in strengthening our commitment to safety, compliance, and continuous improvement across all sites. Having someone of his standing heading up this side of the business instills great confidence in people. He is very accessible for clients, and that allows me to look at other aspects of the business as we continue to grow.
Couple calling for more help for Scots OAPs. A West Lothian couple, married for 63 years, are championing calls for Scotland to show more love for its older people. George, 88, and Ina, 85, Stevenson, have described the life-improving impact of volunteers whose work helps them live better, healthier and independent lives. Older People's charity Food Train says their story is one of many which is inspiring an ambitious vision to almost double the number of older people it supports nationwide amid rising concerns about malnutrition, which it helps tackle. And, launching their new strategic vision at the organisation's Livingston office ahead of the Valentine's weekend, Chief Executive Rosie McCluskey said, "It's time that we show our older people more love, not just through kindness, but through action that improves their lives." George and Ina are shining examples of the difference we can make, and there is an increasing need for us to significantly grow the number of people we reach. Food Train already supports just under 300 people in West Lothian and about 2,000 in total across 9 Scottish local authority regions by ensuring they get the food they need to eat well, age well and live well in their homes. That work to alleviate both malnutrition and loneliness amongst over 65s is through its shopping delivery and collection services, as well as through meal making and other befriending projects through which older people enjoy company and a bite to eat. The Stevensons from Livingston, who have 3 sons, 8 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren, have been members of Food Train for about 4 years. Ina, who has lost her sight, enjoys going on one-to-one supermarket shopping trips with a buddy who Food Train has matched with her, while George enjoys the charity's friends' outings to various destinations. Ina said, "Food Train allows you to maintain a bit of independence. When you've been independent most of your life, to have somebody pick me up from the door and return me is a big bonus. The volunteers are tremendous. Even the people in the office who you speak to on the phone feel like friends." George added, "I enjoy it immensely. It gets me out, and Ina used to have to drag me out. I've met more friends now than I have for a long time. It's just wonderful. It's changed me. I was going down with illnesses, but Food Train has made a vast difference." By 2031, Food Train hopes to be operating across 18 local authority regions, supporting 4,000 older people every year. It has also vowed to champion securing a legal right for older people to be able to access food while supporting its expansion by expanding its volunteer network, who collect and deliver shopping, as well as becoming befrienders, from 1,200 to 3,000. Husband and wife Jamie and Mary Stewart, also of Livingston, have been Food Train volunteers for 7 and 8 years respectively, delivering groceries to people across the region every week. "We love it," said Mary. "We see so much happiness from the older people from having a visit, getting their shopping, a chat, and the wee jobs we can do for them. Food Train is more than just a shopping service. We can go in, check they're okay, help put their shopping away, all sorts of little helpful things, so they've always got what they need." Jamie added, "People could get a delivery from a supermarket, but they don't spend the time with them that we do. That's what really makes the real difference." Food Train is pursuing its expansion plan after it found out that about a fifth, 22%, of over 65s across the country are at risk of malnourishment because they are struggling to eat properly. West Lothian-based business executive Bruce Headley is the charity's vice chair. He said, "It's clear that the services we provide are really important. They're about providing dignity for older people. This is about giving people choice in their life, allowing them to live as independently as they can, as long as they can." Rosie McCluskey added, "Our plan is ambitious, but it needs to be. The support that Food Train provides has never been needed more. We can see that malnutrition among older people is rising. That's a shocking position to be in. It's one that needs to be addressed. The services provided by our volunteers can play a vital part in helping our members to eat well, age well and live well." Food Train also currently operates branches in the Scottish Borders, Dumfries and Galloway, Dundee, Glasgow, Falkirk, Perth and Kinross, Stirling, Clackmannanshire and West Lothian. Council looking to save £130,000. Dried out waste from street cleaning will help cut landfill costs for the West Lothian Council and help pay for new maintenance facilities. The authority is building equipment to retrieve water from the detritus collected, keeping the streets clean, county streets clean. It cuts the bill the council pays for landfill and puts cleaner water back into the conventional drainage system. The savings made in the next year, around £130,000, will help finance new vehicle washing facilities at the council's Whitehill depot in Bathgate. That will save on the contracting out costs the council currently pays to have its HGV and bin lorries deep cleaned every 6 weeks. The proposal went before councillors at a special meeting of the Environment and Sustainability PDSP ahead of the budget meeting in 2 weeks' time. David Moll, Head of Operational Services, answered a question from Linlithgow's Lib Dem councillor Sari Patel. He told the meeting that gully cleaning machines and mini road sweepers collected a high water content along with the detritus swept up. The council pays for waste disposal by the tonne. The new equipment will extract the water content and filter it so that it can be returned to the normal drainage. The weight of waste sent for landfill is also reduced. Ms. Small said it's a sustainable measure. We are sending less tonnage to landfill and returning cleanish water to drainage. A report to the committee said the proposal will have no impact on the frontline performance of road and street sweeping and cleansing. The new facility will allow the council to segregate wastewater to be treated and returned to wastewater drainage systems, thus reducing the volume of landfill waste that the council pays for. In addition, savings will be made by providing a new in-house vehicle washing facility, which will cost less to operate than using a private contractor. And that brings us to the end of part 4, and although that brings us to the end of the news from the Courier, please stay tuned and I will let you know when we have finally finished the recording. Ray, one of our team, has been out and about and has recorded 2 interviews, one with Steve Firth, the station manager of Regal Radio, and the other with Lorna Farker, regional manager of the food train in West Lothian. And we have included the 2 interviews here.
Hello listeners, and welcome to another edition of our interview feature. This time we've been lucky enough to get Steve Firth, the station manager at Regal Radio, to take some time out of his busy schedule and sit in the hot seat. So, without further ado, we will begin. Welcome, Steve. Thank you very much for making the time available to speak to us.
Thank you, Ray. It's our pleasure, I'm sure.
Can you give our listeners a brief introduction to you as a person? How long have you been with Regal Radio? What's your background? Are there any other interesting snippets that our listeners could know?
Okay, well, I'm retired now, so I've got a bit of time on my hands to do this as a hobby, actually. And that I've been with Regal Radio for about 7 years, I think. My background is in engineering. I've been working in engineering all of my life, and I retired about 3 years ago. And I've been doing the Sunday night radio show on Regal Radio since about 2018, I think. And then when the station manager was looking for a bit of help, I said, listen, I'm going to be retiring. I could probably give you a bit of help with stuff. And he was very keen to just pass it over. So I took the role of station manager at the station, and I'm just doing that kind of job. But I do Sunday night show. I do 2 shows. One is called The Meltdown, which is quite a lot of like rock music and stuff like that, something that's really quite going, let's say. And then I do The Calm Down. So it's like bringing people's mood up a bit and then calming them down. So you're getting the best out of a Sunday night and just calming them down for the new week coming in.
Right. Well, thank you. Now we know a little bit more about you. I wonder if you could tell us a bit about Regal Radio, the role that you have there, which you've partly covered, and what services your radio station provides.
Okay, so Regal Radio has been going for just over 10 years. We were based originally in the Regal Theatre in Bathgate, and it was a small room, so the people who were involved at the time decided they needed a wee bit more room, and they moved to premises on Glasgow Road in Bathgate. So we've been going for over 10 years. We have a number of presenters. At the moment, we've got probably about 12 or 13 presenters. People have come and gone over the years, and we've had, different people in. Most of our presenters are actually presenters. We've had a couple of what you might call DJs, guys who've gone out and done public events and stuff like that. And also one in particular who worked for a time with local hospital radio and also Radio Forth at one point. So a lot of experience in there, but some of the people that come, and I include myself in this, no experience at all, an interest in music and a passion for doing this kind of thing. So as far as what the radio station provides, what our main drive, and one of the main drives I brought to the station when I took over from Mike as the station manager, was I wanted to engage with the local community of West Lothian. And that's the reason I'm here today, really speaking to the Boomerang people, is that we want to engage more with local organisations in the community of West Lothian. And, as well as providing a music station, we also have a storyteller who comes in and regales us with stories of Scottish history. We have a well-being show which tells you a lot about different services that are on in the local area for sports or physiotherapy or just wellness in general. We have a show that goes out which is called Mostly Movies, so it's all about music that's been involved in films. We also cover decades, so there's shows about the 60s, there's 70s, 80s, all of that kind of thing. We have a rock show on a Saturday night. We do lots of different things like that. So there's a whole lot, there's everything in there. And as well as that, we have two really quite young presenters now. A chap from Armadale called Aaron, who does a show. He's 16. And we also have a girl called Angelina, who is 12 and puts out a monthly show on the station. So it's great. We've got people like old people like me, and then we've got really quite young people as well. So that's good for the station.
Thank you very much. And if you're old, then I'm old as well. Now, that covered really a lot of the next question. You're based in Bathgate, and you said about the Regal Theatre. Where do you actually broadcast from now? Are you on the airwaves, or is it entirely online?
It's entirely online. We're an online station only, so you can only get us on the internet. The thing about broader broadcasting, we did check to see if we could be included on the digital network, but the transmitters for those don't cover this area. So we did have a bit of a push on getting onto DAB, but we can't do that. So we're online only, so you can get us at www.regalradio.net. As soon as that page comes up, there's a little orange button that says play. You simply press that and go. Also, for people with smart speakers, Alexa or Google and stuff, all you need to say is play Regal Radio and it'll bring us on. We aren't connected to the Regal Theatre, although, as I said earlier, we were based in there. But that's where they got the name. And, we still have some links to the Regal Theatre, but we're not based there any longer.
Okay, thank you. In today's financial climate, it must be really challenging for you to keep the station on air. Do you get any funding from local or central government, or do you just have to fundraise as well?
Well, as well as being a registered charity, we talk about ourselves, the presenters and the people that are involved, as volunteers. We're not strictly speaking volunteers, I suppose, because we're members and we pay a monthly subscription. So it's based on, if I'm putting out a weekly show, there's a membership subscription. And if you're only doing a monthly show, it's slightly less. So we have no funding from local or central government, nothing at all like that. We do a bit of fundraising now and again, but we largely depend on the subscriptions and local businesses and charities and organisations sponsoring us and being an advertiser on the station. The rates, I won't go into them at the moment, but the rates for that are very attractive for local organisations. And if you're a charity or a non-profit organisation, it's even less than a business rate.
Okay, that's great. And we are entirely volunteers. And as you said, you're not volunteers, but you're not actually staff. You're paying for the privilege.
Yeah, we have no staff.
No.
We actually sometimes we get emails from different organisations where they want to put a young person in for work experience and stuff like that. And we have just no facilities for doing that kind of thing at all. We've no staff. It's all people who are interested and become members of the station.
Okay. And can you tell our listeners how they get in contact with Regal Radio if they want to? You've already told us how they can listen to your broadcasts, but if you wouldn't mind going over that again.
Yeah, no problem at all. If anyone wants to get in touch with requests or anything like that, or any information you would like about Regal Radio, the email address is hello@regalradio.net. And if you find out any of the presenters' names, because they're all on the website, the format of any email for any of the presenters is just first name, last name @regalradio.net. So, for example, mine is Steve Firth @regalradio.net. So there's all of that, and the website is www.regalradio.net. We broadcast 24/7, so we're always on, and you can always catch the replays and any of the broadcasts that we make on Mixcloud. All you simply need to do is go to the website that is Mixcloud and type in Regal Radio, and all our shows are listed there for the previous week, month, or whatever, if you've missed it.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Right, that's been really helpful, and thank you once again for making the time to come and speak with us.
Very welcome.
That brings us to the end of this interview. We hope you've enjoyed it.
And now we have the interview with Linda Farker of the Food Train.
This time we've been lucky enough to get Lorna Farker, the regional manager of the Food Train in West Lothian, to take some time out of her busy schedule and sit in the hot seat. So without further ado, we'll begin. Hello listeners, and welcome to the second edition of our interview feature. This time we've been lucky enough to get Lorna Farker, the regional manager of the Food Train in West Lothian, to take some time out of her busy schedule and sit in the hot seat. So without further ado, we'll begin. Welcome Lorna, and thank you very much for making the time available to speak to us.
And thank you very much for the invite, and it's great to be here today. We always welcome the opportunity to tell our story, so thanks again for the invite for today.
Can you give our listeners a brief introduction to you as a person? How long have you been with the Food Train? What's your background? Are there any interesting snippets that our listeners could know?
Well, I live in West Lothian with my husband and my daughter, who is just turned 17, and she goes to Inveramond Community High School. I used to work in Edinburgh and live in Edinburgh. I worked for the City of Edinburgh Council for 20 years and just fancied a bit of a change in terms of my career and what I was doing. And after various restructures, I thought maybe it was my time to go and explore other opportunities. And I think it's brilliant working and living in the community that, to have those opportunities to live and work in the same community. It's fabulous. So I started with Food Train about 10 years ago, a part-time development officer, and now I'm a full-time regional manager through internal sort of promotion, if you like, which is brilliant. It's a fabulous job, and every day, what I love about it is every day I can make a difference, and I don't think a lot of people can say that, and I feel very fortunate in my position to be able to say that. So And so we help doing what we do with all of our services in the food train. Anything interesting? Not really. It's always an awkward question, isn't it? But I do not like winter. I don't know if that's interesting, but it's just a bit of a comment. I love summer and I love summer holidays, and I just think winter is just way too long, and I don't like the dark nights. I don't like the cold. I hate the rain, but I do love the sunshine. So I always look forward to the summertime.
Okay, so you possibly have a bit of sad then.
I think I do.
Right.
I absolutely think I do. And I know some of our volunteers have sad, and we speak about it often. I spoke to a volunteer yesterday who said that he should just lock his wife in a cupboard for January and February and then bring her out in the springtime.
Oh, all right, okay. Now we know a little more about you, I wonder if you could tell us a bit about the food train, the role that you have there, and what services your organisation provides.
Okay, so since 1995, we've been helping older people to eat and live well in their own home, and just support with that bit of independence. We have an amazing bunch of local volunteers who bring friendship and practical help to older people who are just facing some barriers that they previously didn't face. So that's a lot to do with practical and emotional support. So loneliness is a pretty big thing. And we all know that everybody can have bouts of loneliness, from very, very young to very, very old people. It doesn't discriminate. So the services that we offer can support with that. So we have various services, and it might just be useful if I just take you through those services. So Our core service, if you like, so that's the biggie, that's what we focus on, is our shopping delivery service. So we find that sometimes as people get older, they find it difficult to not only get to the shops, but these supermarkets are pretty big nowadays. The self-scan is not liked by my husband, is one of them. And it's just a bit too much for some people. So just to help with that area and to make sure that they have access to food, a weekly shop, they will tell us what they like to eat. They will tell us what they need for the week ahead. They will give us a shopping list. Now, this can be done over the good old-fashioned telephone, because a lot of our members the biggest majority of them are in their 80s, and some of them are an absolute whiz on the internet, and some of them, don't bring that Wi-Fi anywhere near me. It's absolutely wasted. So there's no Wi-Fi involved. Although if somebody does want to email their order into us, then that's absolutely fine. Or we can pop round to their house on a Monday morning for a wee visit, a wee blether, and we can collect a paper template order that customer has filled in. And sorry, I should say that we call our customers members, so I need to correct myself. They're called members. And it's a weekly shopping list that they give us. Now, they don't have to submit an order in every week. If they want it fortnightly or if they want it monthly, they can. It's very, very flexible. And we shop at 2 supermarkets, so we give them the choice of either Sainsbury's or Morrison's, and anything the shop sells, we will buy for them. So if they like a wee glass of wine, or if they need a new microwave, I've seen us buy TVs and towels and new pyjamas if somebody's going into hospital. Anything at all that the supermarket sells, we will buy for them. And we deliver, depends on where you live. Whitburn, for example, is delivered to on a Tuesday, and Linlithgow, for example, is delivered to on a Thursday. So we have to geographically split. We have our own delivery vans. We've got like I said before, we have the most fabulous team of local volunteers who a wee army of volunteers in West Lothian Food Train that commit every week, every day, to providing this service for older people. We take the shopping into the house. We can use key safes. We can make those arrangements for somebody if they struggle to maybe answer the door. We can unpack it for the person. We'll check it with them just to make sure we've got everything right. We can put it away in the fridge and freezer. The volunteers are also absolutely brilliant at bringing back any concerns to the office. So if there's any welfare concerns, if wee Maggie's not looking very well that day, or she seemed a bit confused, or she'd had a fall, or she was a bit upset by something, the volunteers will raise those concerns with us in the office, and we can either do various kind of checks to make sure that person's okay. So if, for example, we have Maggie's daughter or son's contact details, we would raise the concerns with them. If there is no point of contact or no next of kin, what we would do is we would contact social work or a GP just to highlight concerns that need to be highlighted. And those are for our vulnerable members. So I think we have a lot of members who maybe their daughter or their son is not even in the country. They're maybe in Australia, Canada, America, and they find it very, very comforting knowing that the food train volunteers are maybe going in once, twice, 3 times a week. It's a great comfort to them just to know that and we can raise concerns we have with that person, whoever it needs to be. We also have, so that's our shopping service. If the person does actually quite like to go to the supermarket, but maybe would struggle getting to the bus stop or going round the supermarket, we have members who have various sight impairments, whether that's macula or they're losing their sight, just to have a pair of eyes going round the supermarket to point things out, to reach high, to bend down low, and to get things. So it's a one-to-one supported shopping service. And that trip, if you like, it's an outing, is always finished with a wee cup of tea and a blether in the cafe. So we will not go anywhere that does not have a cup of tea and a cafe included. So that's fabulous. It's a fabulous service. Yeah. What it does is it gives people even more independence for those that do like to get out. And what's happened just organically is friendships have developed within the small group, because our minibus will pick somebody up straight outside their house. We will help them on the bus. We will take them to the supermarket, go round the supermarket with them. Then we kind of regroup, cup of tea, sticky bun, whatever it is, back on the bus, home. The volunteers will help them in with their shopping, but that group has formed a lovely kind of friendship. So once a fortnight we can offer that service. And we also, with our minibus, we can also take people out and about in the local community. Now, we like to keep to local, so we like to support the local businesses. So today, for example, they are off to a very nice cafe in Broxburn for brunch, and then they're off to some seated exercise program. So again, it's a small group of people who just like to get out and about and have a blether and have a giggle and then get taken home again, and they've had a nice day out. So we also have a library service where people who love to read just find it difficult to maybe access and get to their local library and carry books back. We had a lady who was 90, has read all of her life and was really, really worried because she just wasn't able to kind of literally walk to the library anymore. And we said, well, we can help. We can drop some books off to you once a month and take them back to the library and then deliver you some new ones. So she was absolutely amazed that she was still able to read into her 90s just with a little bit of support from the food train. So, yes, quite a lot of services going on.
That's really that's a magnificent service. That really is. I'm in awe of that.
Oh, thank you. We think so too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you were saying about local. I know you have an office in Livingston.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the only office you have? Where does the food train operate? Do you cover areas outside of West Lothian?
We certainly do, and again, I'm sure you'll appreciate it. A lot of it comes down to funding. So we are where we are funded. That's the kind of main crunch of it. So we have 7 main offices. We have an office in Falkirk. We have an office in Stirling. We cover most D&G, so Dumfries and Galloway. We cover the borders. We've got West Lothian. We've got Dundee, Perth and Kinross. And we also have a national service called our Meal Makers. Now, Meal Makers is a service that we can offer people who enjoy a nice home-cooked meals. You know, supermarkets are great at providing the sort of essentials, your ready meals and things like that. It's not quite the same as a good old fashioned plate of mince and tatties, is it? A home cooked or a casserole or something like that. So what we did is we got some funding and we set up our Meal Makers service, where we find volunteers who love to cook family meals or just love cooking. And what we've asked them to do is portion up a wee Tupperware dish and put a portion of their whatever it is they've cooked into that Tupperware dish, and we'll match them to somebody who lives locally to them who just would appreciate a wee bit of company and a nice home cooked meal. So the friendships that have been created over this service is absolutely phenomenal, and it's just organically grown into just a wonderful, wonderful friendship and you know, a relationship between the cook and the diner, if you like.
Yeah.
So, and it's very much based on volunteers' availability. So if somebody is interested in that service, they would let us know, and then we could look to match them to see where are the volunteers in your area that love cooking, who have signed up to help, and we can match them together. So,
gosh, I'm still awestruck.
Maybe I should actually, sorry, just there's another couple of projects, would you believe that? I know, another couple of projects that I have to mention. We are working on a partnership project with Carers of West Lothian, and it's a project called MIST, which is Memory Information Support Team.
Yes.
A brilliant I don't know if you've heard of it.
I have,
really good, a really good service, and it's for people who have not received their diagnosis yet. So they're in that limbo land, and the MIST project is there to support them with that. So it can be a really tricky time for some people when they just don't know what's happening. They don't know what the future looks like. And we're there to support them by providing information and just maybe trying to take some of that darkness away, and supporting with lots of, again, practical and emotional support.
Right.
So, and what's brilliant is that the West Lothian is just one of the partners in that project. So it's really brilliant to see the collaboration between different organisations in West Lothian working together for the purpose. The other project that we have at West Lothian is a Safe and Warm project. So we got funded by SGN Energy, and we've produced this brilliant booklet, and we share it at every opportunity. And it's a booklet that's full of brilliant information about keeping yourself safe and warm at home. So whether that's, you know, reducing the amount of shower time that you have, or looking at ways that you can keep yourself and your home warm, it's not really overly focused on energy, because I think that sort of frightens people. It's just practical hints and tips. It's getting yourself, making sure that people are registered on the Priority Service Register scheme. It's making sure you're getting all the benefits you're entitled to. There's so much useful information in there. It really is worth contacting us if people need that support. And one of our development officers can phone and just do a bit of a checklist and go through some of the information that's in the booklet. It's just full of useful information. So that's just another project that we've got on the go.
Irons in fires. What a lot of irons you have in a lot of fires. Right. Well, you mentioned funding there, and I will say that in today's financial climate, it must be really challenging for you to keep the organisation going. Do you get any funding from local or central government, and do you have to fundraise as well?
It's a bit of everything that you've just said there, actually. We do. West Lothian Food Train has been on the go for 15 years. We celebrated our birthday last year, 15 years. And for the duration of that time, we have been extremely lucky to receive funding from West Lothian Council. But you can imagine the pressures that the local council are facing. It just nowadays it seems that we're all facing the exact same pressures. So we are going to have to start thinking about how we deliver our services that are a bit more sustainable than what the current operation is. So funding will be cut. We're still going at the moment, but we are looking at ways that we can just sort of continue to deliver the vital services that we do without so heavily reliance on other people funding us. We do still try to organise our own fundraising events, whether that's a cake sale or a pub quiz or something at Christmas. We have a national fundraising event called Boxtober, which happens in October, and it's about sponsoring one of our shopping boxes. We ask people to sponsor a box for £10, and it really does generate a bit of an income for us. Right. I mean, what we're funded by West Lothian Council and what the cost is to deliver the service, there's a gap.
Yes.
So it kind of doesn't meet. So for things like our shopping service, we do charge £7 service charge, and if we're taking people out on a friend's trip, we do issue a kind of small charge for that, and that just helps plug that gap. There's no other way we could do it. Yeah. So it's challenging times, but we're not the only one. Everybody's facing challenging times. So sometimes it is just an opportunity to sort of put the brakes on, have a look at what we're doing, and see if there's any opportunities there, rather than just sort of saying, oh well, that's it, we can't do what we're doing, we can't support all these people, so let's just go home. That's not going to happen, I don't think.
Okay, that's good, thank you. That's a very comprehensive answer. And as you may know, well, you've already kind of covered this, but Boomerang is staffed entirely by volunteers. Do you have staff as well as volunteers? I know the answer to that because you're a staff.
We have a small group of staff compared to the army of volunteers that we have. So we have approximately 1,200 to 1,500 volunteers across Food Train.
Gosh.
So that's an army.
That's an
army. I'm confident that's an army. In West Lothian, we have around 90 volunteers, all from different backgrounds, all volunteering just because they want to give something back to the community, because they have some free time on their hands, because they want to be involved in something, because their wife maybe doesn't want them under their feet all day. There's a whole host of the reasons that people volunteer. I know myself, when I left the City of Edinburgh Council, I had a year off, and I thought, what am I going to do? And I did some volunteering with some local organisations in West Lothian, and it was just such a brilliant thing to do. We have people that want to volunteer because they'd like to get back to work but this is a stepping stone towards that. We have duos, we have husbands and wives, we have mums and daughters, we have daughters and sons. So it's fabulous that the amount of people that come through our doors and want to help. I think last year there was about 15,000 hours of volunteering done in West Lothian alone. So that's a huge amount of volunteer hours that they have committed and given us, and I'm in awe of them. And I know that I have people that come in that want to volunteer who are retired. Some of our volunteers are older than the people that they're supporting. So they're my inspiration. They're my inspiration on a daily basis. And we're a great team.
Thank you. Right. Well, the important thing now is, can you tell our listeners how they can get more information about Food Train and how they can contact you if they feel you can help them?
Yeah, we can do things like, I can give you the phone number or the email address, and if any of your listeners just want to have a chat in a bit more detail or how to sign up, or they just like, I like the sound of that service, how can I find out more? Please just pick up the phone, and we're a small team of staff. There's 4 of us at West Lothian, but there's always somebody there to take your call and to speak to you. And if it's not there and then, we would certainly phone you back. And we don't have the resources to always do home visits, but sometimes we can if that's what's needed. We've had members in the past who have actually used the Boomerang service and got the shopping service, and we had a lady that the volunteers who were delivering the service used to post her Boomerang pack back through the letterbox for them, because she found it difficult to get out, so she would always try and catch somebody to post it.
What a tie
so
up
I can give you the phone number.
Yes, please do.
So our phone number is 01506 413013. An email?
Yes.
Our email is westlothian, all one word, at thefoodtrain.co.uk.
Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. That was very, very clearly spoken, I'm pleased to say. So, thank you very much. That's been really, really helpful. Thank you once again for coming to speak with us.
Thank you so much. I hope your listeners found that useful. And it's maybe, I speak to a lot of people that they'll maybe say, I don't need this service just now.
Yeah.
But we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And whether your listeners, it's something that they might benefit from either now or in the future, or maybe it's a neighbour, or maybe it's a friend of theirs that they're aware of. I think we all need to look out for each other and just remember, and I think the Food Train might be able to help with this.
Yeah.
And so please do give us a call. We're here Monday to Friday, office hours, and if anybody needs any information at all, we'll be happy to provide that for them.
Thank you. Well, listeners, that brings us to the end of this interview. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we hope to bring you another feature soon.
Now, we're Team 3, and T3's recording session will also include, where possible, a poem or composition written and read by one of our team. So before we wind up our session, Ray has 2 love poems in honour of Valentine's Day, so over to you, Ray.
The first poem is called The Wait. I sit waiting for my love. The sun sinks, bathing the world in golden hues. The mist passes spectre-like over the ground, but I sit waiting for my love. I sit waiting for my love while on the road the cars scurry by like ants on the way to a picnic. A plane drones overhead in its usual endless flight, but I sit waiting for my love. I sit waiting for my love, and children scream and shout and play, mercifully far enough away to not encroach upon my space, empty now, because I sit waiting for my love. I sit waiting for my love, whose light is brighter than 10,000 suns, whose being fills my world and makes me whole once more. I sit waiting for my love. I sit waiting for my love, a shell replete with nothingness, a sentient being but somehow void of normal life. But hark, a call, she comes again. My heart is leaping joyously. I wait no more. The second poem is by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight for the ends of being an ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death.
Thank you very much, Ray. We have now come to the end of this week's recording, and we hope you have enjoyed it. Now, when you're finished listening to this recording, can I remind you to place the USB stick in the wallet, reverse the label so that the cutout corner is at the top right-hand side, and post it back to us as soon as possible, please. And remember, wallets should only be posted in a post box. Please do not post them in a post office. So, it's goodbye from the members of our team.
Fading.
Nan.
Ray. From me, Jim, from Andrew, and from Ray again. All together now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.